What's going on, y'all? This be your boy, Scotty by Nature TV, and I'm here for a brand new episode of Yes for the Mess, where we talk about celebrity gossip, hot topics, and all things reality TV based. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday night, and I plan on doing the exact same. What's going on, y'all? Now, before we get into the mess for today, let's talk about what we got coming up on the platform this week. Now, you guys do know that tomorrow is Wednesday, which means it is Chasing Atlanta Day, all right? And if you don't know anything about Chasing Atlanta is an LGBT web series that comes on the YouTube platform by the name of Chasing Reality. Tune in tomorrow night as Scotty, Jamar, Terrence, Tramel, Carl, and Jeremy Speaks all come together for the Chasing panel to discuss tomorrow's episode of Chasing Atlanta. Then on Friday, make sure you guys tune in to the third episode of One on One, which features Calvin Michaels, one of my favorites, one of my unproblematic favorites. We're going to talk about the past, the present, and the future, honey. And we'll be talking about music and a lot of things that we have in common. So make sure you guys tune in for this conversation with my boy Calvin Michaels. Then on Saturday, make sure you guys tune in for a lit live review of Love and Marriage Huntsville, honey. I will be sipping on a little something because that episode is going to be lit, child. I am tuned in because Letitia gonna get their drink slapped in the face by Kiki. You know I gotta watch it. And as you guys know, we have been doing Basketball Wives panels for the last week. I did one first. Then Jamie did hers on Sunday. And then on this coming up Sunday, Terrence will be doing it. So this is only for a limited time, though, even though it's been getting a great response. It's only for a limited time because there's nothing to do on Sunday. So myself, Jamie, Josiah, and T will be coming together again this Sunday on Giving You the Real T's platform to talk about the Basketball Wives once again. So with that being said, y'all, this be your boy Scotty. And that was all that we got for the church announcement. So let's go ahead and get into the mess. Now, on the recent episode of TGIF, Funky, Dineva, and Claudia Jordan got into a heated debate about transphobia. It all started when this news report came up about trans-identified influencer Dylan, I can't pronounce the last name, who was recognized as Woman of the Year by LGBT magazine, is characterizing anyone who refuses to acknowledge the social media personality preferred gender as hateful. Now, Attitude magazine, which identifies itself as the UK and Europe's best-selling LGBTQ magazine, named Dylan as Woman of the Year in a post on Twitter on Wednesday. So that got the people in a frenzy when she was named Woman of the Year, right? So it came up on TGIF, and from the moment that it came up, Funky Dineva did not want to talk about it because he felt like Claudia Jordan would get into one of her, quote unquote, rants about Black women and gay people and stuff like that. After Funky Dineva gave his spiel and his opinion on the situation, because Al, who never offers anything to the platform, he didn't really have much to say about it. But Claudia did call Funky Dineva out for basically saying that she was going to go on one of her little rants about the situation. And Funky Dineva pretty much accused her of teeter-tottering on the line of being transphobic. Claudia took offense to that and went in. So let's listen in on this as they speak their minds on this topic at hand. I'm going to go on mute and we're going to listen to it, and then I'll be back to give you guys my opinion on it. Let's get into it, y'all.
Transgender woman Dylan Mulvaney was recently named Woman of the Year by Virgin Atlantic and a British LGBTQ magazine. During her acceptance speech, Dylan said, "I'm so honored to be with you all tonight. And some see me as the Woman of the Year, some see me as Woman of the Year, and some change, as I only publicly came out online 560 days ago. And some people don't see me as a woman at all." Any thoughts on Dylan receiving this recognition? Go ahead, Q. I want to hear this.
Actually none. And this is one of those stories I was like, oh Lord, I hope tonight Claudia don't go on one of her tangents with this woman stuff and this trans stuff, because I'm not in the mood for it. But honestly and truthfully, this really is a non-story. It's an LGBTQ magazine. Let it alone. It's not like it's Sports Illustrated. It's not like it's Entertainment Tonight. If she's going to be named Woman of the Year anywhere, let it be in the LGBTQ space. This really is a non-story, in my opinion.
Al?
I'm gonna have to disagree with Q on this one. I understand where he's coming from by saying it's a non-story because it's in an LGBTQ plus magazine. However, just within that community, some women in that community feel marginalized when these type of awards are giving to trans women. So, you know, I was thinking about it. How do you actually answer this question without offending natural born women versus also not offending trans women? So I was thinking, maybe is it wrong for them to just create a whole new category and call it Trans Woman of the Year? Or
I can't speak for trans women. I can't speak for them, but my assumption is that that doesn't work because I'm a woman.
okay, I got it. So then let me shift the conversation then, because I that's some murky waters that I am not prepared for, and the discussion that's harder. But I do want to talk about this. Why don't we hear or see these discussions when it comes to trans men? Like, I really feel like some way that it's manipulated in how things are reported, how it's coverage and highlighted in media, or is someone in the higher up saying, hey, let's create this division between trans women and cisgender women?
I
Because
can answer that succinctly for you.
Okay.
And the simple answer is male privilege. The simple answer is, and that's why you don't see men fighting with trans men, because they'll never be a threat.
Got it.
And it literally is that simple. A trans man will never be a threat to a man because of male privilege.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, let me go ahead and say something. And I take slight offense to you, Q, saying that I don't want her to go on her rants. I'm supposed to defend. If we had a gay issue, and I said, and it was an issue that affected your community, you would definitely defend yours and go hard.
No, you just teeter the lines of transphobic and homophobic.
No, I don't.
You do.
No,
Because we
I do
defended our
not.
communities. You do.
And what if I said you cheated the lines of being negative and Black women hatred? Like, no.
I'll accept it. It won't be the first time I heard it.
Because then you sit there and make a video about how you don't. It's not transphobic when I say I'm just being positive and pro women, and I've never said anything negative about trans women. I've actually have defended a lot of times. I remember being on shows with people, with men, straight men, just cisgender men, which I don't like using that term, but natural born men, and fighting vehemently for the rights and the acknowledgement of the trans community. The problem with this, and I think, and you're also part of this, you can't have a space where if I have any criticism for something you've done and you happen to be gay or trans, that means it's an indictment against the community, because that's not fair. It's an indictment against the individual, an argument with the individual, but it's not fair to put that on someone, because it makes people just be afraid to have a real honest conversation. Like, if you have a fight with me and it's about principle, a thing, right? Not anything to do with me as a Black woman or you as a gay man, it should not be deemed as you being anti-Black woman, and it should not be deemed as me being homophobic or transphobic. If I can never criticize you because of what box you check off, is that equal rights or is that privilege? And I think that's unrealistic. I have no hatred or fear of the trans community, and I resent that label. So I'm going to say something every single time. And yes, this woman being named Woman of the Year in a neutral space, of course I would have something to say about that. But in a trans space, hell no, have at it. But since we voice our opinions, I think there's other trans women that are more notable that deserve it. And I'll say T.S. Madison deserves it more for the strides that T.S. Madison has made. I just heard about Dylan 300 days ago. So that's what I'm saying. I have to say something, because I feel like when we make comments like that, it just shuts people up, that I can't say anything critical or I'm going to be deemed transphobic, when you know that's not the case. We've had conversations about this, and I just want to make that very clear. All right? I don't have any hatred or phobias for the community. I don't. All right, y'all.
Well, that was heated. Okay, so that was Miss Claudia and Funky Dineva having a heated debate about transphobia and all of this other stuff. Now, here's my opinion on this, and I think I can say this only because I sound like Claudia when people like to come at me about Black women, and when I criticize certain Black women. It's not all Black women, it's only certain people, you know what I'm saying? Anytime, and I do agree, as a Black gay man, a part of the LGBT community, I do feel like sometimes my community in particular has a way of trying to bully people into agreeing with every little thing that we as LGBT people do. Okay? For real. I felt that way when I was talking about Macy Gray and Flame Monroe and their comments about trans women and things like that, and I wasn't necessarily disagreeing with the things that they said. Did I agree with the delivery? No. But did I agree with the sentiments that they had? Absolutely, because I felt the same way. If I don't agree with something dealing with gay people or trans people, I'm deemed a pick me because I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't have to agree with something just because it involves my community. I can have a difference of opinion. And even I did not feel as though this Dylan person should have been named Woman of the Year. I still feel like trans women or trans men should have their own categories, in my opinion, because it belongs to trans women. It belongs to trans men. That is something that they can have ownership of. I can't sit up here and act like I don't understand why when a trans woman is up for like something like Woman of the Year and a natural born woman comes out and has an opinion about it. I can't say that I don't understand because they probably do feel like they're infiltrating spaces that were created for women. So I feel like when it comes down to it, trans women should have their own categories, and that would lower the tone of these conversations. Trans men should have their own categories, and that will lower. I mean, why not do that? It works better that way. It's more fair that way. You feel what I'm saying? It's like even with sports or all that type of stuff. Like if a trans woman is playing a woman's game and they win, best female athlete or something like that, the female athletes that were born women, they are going to feel some type of way because they feel like it's not fair because this person was not born a woman, they're a trans woman. So that's why. Do I feel like trans women are women? Absolutely. But at the same time, if you really want to lower the volume with these conversations, we may as well have separate categories for each woman. Have a category for the women, have a category for the trans women, have a category for the men, have a category for the trans men. Now, do I agree with some of Funky Dineva's sentiments when he stated that the reason why trans men don't get heat from natural born men is because a trans man is not a threat to a man that was born that way due to male privilege? I do agree with that. It's already competition enough and it's unnecessary with gay men and women. Then you got a trans woman coming in and that's also competition. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be that way. So I understood where Claudia was coming from. Because even on because just like, I just felt like it was unnecessary for Funky Dineva to pretty much accuse her of being like saying that she's teeter-tottering on the whole transphobic wave when I've never thought that Claudia was transphobic. I never thought that she was. I've always seen her speak positively about the gay community and the trans community and even defend them vehemently and on other spaces. So I don't understand why you would even say that she's transphobic. I don't see that. All I've ever seen her do is support, but we cannot tear somebody down the one time they disagree with something that goes on with our community that may be infiltrating other communities. We can't call them transphobic or saying that they're teeter-tottering on the transphobic lane when that's not really the case here. She's just giving her opinion. I don't see what's wrong with that. I honestly don't see anything wrong with what Claudia was stating. And everybody has an opinion. We don't always have to agree with stuff. Every time we disagree, it's phobia. You hate this, you hate that. No, just because I disagree with Melody Cherie does not make me a man that hates Black women. I get criticized all the fucking time. Does that make you homophobic? No, it does not. You're just a mother with an opinion, just like I'm a mother with an opinion. You feel what I'm saying? Just because somebody got an opinion, that don't make them homophobic. Just because somebody got an opinion, that don't make them transphobic. Now, there are some people out there that I would deem as transphobic. Candace Owens is transphobic. I definitely feel like she is. I don't think Macy Gray is transphobic. I think Boosie is definitely a homophobe. Clearly. He is. He's shown that he's a homophobe. That's how I feel. But I don't think that Claudia was transphobic. At the end of the day, I just feel like we should keep everything separate. Let the women have their shit. Let the trans women have their shit. Let the men have their shit. And let trans men have their shit. And I always say this, what is the point of infiltrating spaces that don't belong to us and make our voices be so damn loud in spaces that really don't want us there no way? Why not create our own damn spaces? Why not create our own platforms? Why not do that? Why not just have our own categories? We may as well. Why not? I don't see the wrong in that. Like, let's have our own categories. Let's do that. Let's represent for ourselves. We don't have to do all that. We really don't. I can understand why Woman of the Year would be offensive to a natural born woman. I understand that. I understand. I do. It's always going to be a little bit of disconnect when it comes down to this situation. It's always going to be that, and I really hate that that's what it is, because it's always this thing with trans women and biological women. There's always this thing when both groups are oppressed like a mother, especially Black women. Both groups are oppressed like a mother, and they should be allies, but that doesn't happen in the perfect world. Because this ain't no mother perfect world at all. So I definitely don't feel like Claudia was being homophobic or transphobic. I don't believe that at all. And I love the way that she checked Funky Dineva, because as I said before, I'm a person that likes Funky Dineva for the most part, but I'm also a person that if I don't agree with him, I ain't scared to say I don't agree with it. You know, sometimes people feel like because a person is bigger than you, you can't speak your mind or speak your piece. And then when you speak your piece on certain things, then people feel like, well, you hating. It ain't got nothing to do with hate. It's about having an opinion. And in my opinion, he was up for that. He ain't have to call her transphobic or say that she's teeter-tottering along the lines of being transphobic, because that's not the case. I don't think so. You know, Woman of the Year, that should be for the natural born woman. Why not just do Trans Woman of the Year and just keep it moving? I've always felt like that. That will keep down all the conversation. Because to be honest, it's always going to be problematic to people when trans women are receiving awards that is meant for the natural born woman. It's always going to be an issue with that. That's why I always say let's not try to infiltrate spaces that don't even want us there. Create our own spaces. Let's make a Trans Woman of the Year award and get that shit to T.S. Madison. I don't know many trans men, but make a Trans Man of the Year award. Let's celebrate amongst ourselves. These are spaces that some of these spaces don't really want us there, no way. So why are we doing this anyway? You know what I'm saying? And I get that it's for an LGBT magazine, but even with it being for an LGBT magazine, Woman of the Year should have been a lesbian. In my opinion, we could have made a lesbian Woman of the Year and just said, let's do something for the trans women by themselves. Let's do Trans Woman of the Year and do that. You feel me? That's how I feel. And I already know that I'm probably going to get drugged by the LGBT community for saying this shit. But I really, at this point, I don't give a at the end of the day. Because all you're going to do is prove my motherfucking point if you come at me with that bullshit. Because I'm 100% gay and LGBT and all that bullshit. I'm all that. But I'm going to keep it real. Some of y'all don't like it when folks keep it real, but it is what it is. I'm going to keep it all the way 100. It's going to always be a situation when it comes down to this. It's always going to be like that. So we need to make spaces to celebrate ourselves instead of wanting to infiltrate spaces that barely want us in their space. And that's all I got on that. So with that being said, y'all, I am Scotty by Nature TV. Be sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe, share this video, and also click on the notification bell so you can be notified whenever a video drops. And if you want to follow me on any form of social media, my Twitter, my Instagram, and my TikTok will be down below in the description box. So with that being said, y'all, this be your boy Scotty by Nature TV, and I'm out of here. And until my next video, I will talk to you guys a little bit later. Bye, y'all.